No one bid on the Galactic cruiser I bought. The secret inside altered my life. Ethan Miller sat in his small apartment on the edge of New Houston Station, staring at the auction screen. His fingers hovered over the controls, but he could not take his eyes off the image of the old Galactic cruiser. Its metal hull was scratched and worn, but there was something about it that made Ethan's heart race. The cruiser was called the Horizon, and for some reason no one else seemed interested. The current bid was low, too low for a ship of that size and type. Ethan leaned back in his chair and rubbed his eyes. He had dreamed of owning a starship for as long as he could remember. He was just an engineer now, working odd jobs repairing drones and small transport ships, but he had always wanted to explore the stars in a large, capable ship. This could be his chance. "Ethan, are you seriously looking at that old thing again?" Clara Jenkins' voice came from the doorway. She was tall, with short brown hair that curled at the ends, and eyes that always seemed to look straight through his excitement. She leaned against the frame of the door, arms crossed. "I am," Ethan said, not taking his eyes off the screen. "It's perfect, Clara. Just look at it. No one even bid on it yet."
That's because it's falling apart, Ethan. You really think an abandoned cruiser like that is worth your time? And credits?
Ethan smiled faintly. "Sometimes the best things in life are the ones everyone ignores. I feel like there's something special about this ship." Clara shook her head, but did not argue further. She knew Ethan well enough to understand that once he set his mind on something, it was almost impossible to stop him. The auction timer ticked down. And minutes left. Ethan clicked the bid button. The screen confirmed it. The ship was now his. He leaned back in his chair, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had just bought a Galactic cruiser with almost no money and no one else bidding against him. The journey to the ship took 3 days. Ethan and Clara boarded a small transport freighter loaded with tools, spare parts, and basic supplies. As they approached the coordinates where the Horizon floated in orbit around a deserted planet, Ethan could feel his excitement growing. The ship looked even larger up close. Its once bright metal had dulled, and some panels were bent or missing, but its form was still imposing. "This is it," Ethan whispered. "Our new home in the stars." Clara frowned, scanning the ship. "It looks like no one has been here in decades. Are you sure about this?" Ethan smiled. "That's the point. It's ours to fix, to explore. We'll find out what secrets it holds." They docked carefully. The airlock hissed open, and they stepped inside. The smell of old metal and electronics filled the cabin. Dust floated in the dim light, and the walls creaked under their weight. The ship was silent, except for the soft hum of its dormant systems. Ethan activated his portable scanner. "There's life support still online. Minimal power, but it's stable. That's a good sign." Clara looked around. "It's too quiet." "I don't like it. Quiet is good," Ethan replied. "It means nothing has been disturbed. We'll get a clean start shaft." They explored the main corridors. The ship's size amazed them. It had large halls, empty crew quarters, and a massive control bridge. Dust-covered screens blinked occasionally, hinting at faint activity in the ship's system. As they moved deeper, Ethan noticed something unusual. A section of the corridor was blocked by a thick metal door with strange symbols etched into it. He knelt and ran his fingers over the markings. They did not match any human language he knew. "Look at this," Ethan said. "I've never seen symbols like this before. It must be old. Maybe it's dangerous. Should we open it?" "Not yet. I want to know more before we risk opening it." The ship's engineering bay was filled with machinery that had not been touched in years. Ethan's eyes lit up as he examined the old systems. But he could see how things worked and how he could repair them. Clara stayed close, helping him move broken panels and clearing debris. As night fell over the deserted planet outside, Ethan set up a small camp in the ship's main lounge. They ate rations and talked about what they might discover.
You really think this ship has secrets? Clara asked. Ethan shrugged.
I don't know, but something about it feels alive, in a way, like it's waiting for someone to bring it back. Clara shook her head and smiled slightly. You always think too much, Ethan. It's just an old ship. But Ethan did not feel like it was just an old ship. The next day, Ethan powered up the ship's AI. The screen in the bridge flickered, then stabilized into the image of a calm, holographic figure.
Hello, the AI said. Its voice was smooth but slightly mechanical.
I am Lara. Who are you? I'm Ethan Miller, and this is Clara Jenkins. We own this ship now, Ethan said. Lara paused. Ownership detected. Access granted. However, certain areas remain restricted. They are not yet ready for human access. Ethan's curiosity grew. Restricted areas? Why? Security protocols, Lara replied. This ship contains advanced systems that are not meant to be tampered with until authorized. Historical records indicate that some compartments must remain sealed for safety reasons. Clara muttered under her breath, Great. Nothing dangerous ever happens in these stories. Ethan ignored her joke. He could feel that the ship held something extraordinary. Okay, Lara. Can you help us understand the ship? Show us where the living quarters and engineering systems are? Confirmed, Lara said. Follow the designated paths. As they explored further, Ethan noticed subtle signs that the ship had once been a place of activity. Walls had scuff marks, old charts were barely readable, and small storage units held dusty equipment. But what caught his attention most were the sealed sections. The strange metal door from the day before led to a corridor that was completely dark and silent. Ethan tried to scan it with his handheld device. The scanner beeped and then shut down. It's like the system refuses to read this area, he said, frowning. Clara stepped back. Ethan, maybe we should leave it alone. Something about that area feels wrong. Ethan shook his head. No, I need to know what's inside. There's something important behind that door. I can feel it. He studied the symbols again, tracing his fingers along the metal. There was a soft click, almost like the door recognized his touch. Slowly, the door began to slide open. A cold draft hit them as they stepped inside. The corridor was narrow, lined with cryogenic chambers. Each one was empty, except for one at the far end. Ethan approached it carefully. Inside was a human figure, a woman, her face pale and serene as if she were sleeping. Clara gasped. Is she alive? Ethan examined the chamber. Cryogenic. She's been preserved. But for how long? The chamber's display flickered, showing a date centuries old. Ethan's eyes widened. This is incredible.
She's been asleep for hundreds of years. The AI spoke softly.
Subject preserved. Awakening requires authorization and careful monitoring. Risks are unknown. Ethan looked at Clara.
We have to wake her. She might know the secrets of this ship.
Clara hesitated but nodded. I just hope we're ready for whatever comes next. With careful hands, Ethan activated the awakening sequence. The chamber hissed, fog spilling out as the woman's eyes slowly opened. She looked around with confusion and fear, but there was also recognition, like she had been expecting them. My name is Maya, she said weakly. Where am I? Ethan smiled gently. You're safe.
My name is Ethan, and this is Clara. You're on a ship called the Horizon. You've been asleep for a long time.
Maya's eyes widened as she tried to remember.
I was fighting.
A war, the weapon. Ethan exchanged a glance with Clara. They could see that whatever secret Maya held, it was important, and somehow it was connected to the ship and its hidden power. Clara whispered, Ethan, I think we just found out why no one bid on this ship. Ethan nodded, feeling both fear and excitement. They had only begun to uncover the mysteries of the horizon, and already their lives had changed. As the sun rose over the deserted planet, the three of them stood together on the deck of the ship, looking out at the endless stars. Ethan felt a new sense of purpose. He had bought an abandoned cruiser on a whim, but now he understood that the ship had chosen them for something much greater. And somewhere deep inside the sealed corridors, the ship's real secret waited. The ship hummed softly as Ethan, Clara, and Maya stood in the bridge, staring out at the stars. Maya's eyes moved quickly, scanning every panel, every flickering screen, as if she could read their history. Ethan felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. He had never met anyone who had been asleep for centuries before, and yet here she was, alive, looking at him as if she already knew something important. Clara finally spoke. Maya, can you tell us anything about this ship? Why it was sealed? Maya blinked, her voice soft and uncertain. I was part of a mission, a long mission. This ship, it was meant to carry something very powerful, something that could change the course of the war. They put me here to protect it.
Ethan's heart raced. What kind of powerful thing? Maya shook her head slowly.
I don't remember clearly. Only flashes, lights, explosions, voices, and the weapon. The weapon was inside the ship. That is why no one could have it. It could destroy planets if it fell into the wrong hands. Destroy planets? Are you serious? Maya nodded faintly. Yes, and it must stay hidden. That is why the ship was abandoned, and why I was frozen. Ethan felt the weight of the words. He had thought he bought a simple, abandoned cruiser. Instead, he held a piece of history and a secret that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy.
Lara, Ethan said, turning to the AI.
Can you show us more about this ship's systems? The hidden sections? The AI responded calmly. Access to restricted areas remains limited. Unauthorized entry could trigger security protocols. Historical records advise caution.
I know, but we need to understand what we have.
Can you at least show us the ship's layout, including the sealed areas? Confirmed, Lara said. The holographic map of the horizon appeared in the center of the bridge. The ship was enormous, far larger than Ethan had imagined. Most areas were empty, but the sealed sections glowed faintly, almost as if they were waiting for someone to come. Maya stepped closer to the map. This section here, airlock?
That is where the weapon is stored. And these?
These rooms are for protection, security, and monitoring. Only humans or creatures with permission could have entered. Ethan looked at Clara. We're going to have to explore this ship carefully. Every corner might hold something important. And Maya, we need your help to understand what's safe and what isn't.
Maya nodded. I will try.
But I have been asleep for centuries. My memory is weak. I may not know everything at once. The first few days were spent exploring and repairing the ship. Ethan worked tirelessly in engineering, repairing old circuits and rerouting power to restore some of the ship's original functions. Clara flew small reconnaissance drones through sections of the ship, checking for damage and possible hazards. Maya stayed close, helping when she could, though her knowledge came in fragments. They discovered more than just machinery. Old crew quarters held personal items, photos, letters, and messages etched into walls. Maya paused in one room, staring at an empty locker. This was my cabin," she whispered. "I remember a small photo, a friend who died during the war. I remember feeling scared and hopeful. You're safe now. You don't have to be scared anymore." She was becoming more comfortable, yet the deeper sections of the ship seemed to call to her, as if reminding her of her purpose. One evening, as Ethan worked on the ship's navigation system, he noticed a strange reading on the scanner. A hidden compartment deep in the engineering bay had energy readings. They were faint but consistent, like the pulse of something alive. "Maya," Ethan said, "I think the weapon, or whatever powerful thing you mentioned, is still active. We need to be careful."
Maya's eyes widened. Yes.
It is. Sleeping. Adeo. A pawn, but awake enough to sense anyone who comes near. That is why the ship was abandoned. No one could control it without risking their life. We're already here, though. Does that mean we're in danger?
I don't think so. Not if we're smart.
That's the thing. Humans can think, adapt, and survive in ways machines or other species might not expect.
Maya.
Maya smiled faintly. I see that. You humans are clever. I did not understand that before. Over the next week, they carefully explored the ship's deeper areas. They found storage rooms filled with advanced equipment that had been lost to history. Energy cells, navigation systems, and strange devices with no clear purpose were scattered throughout. Ethan cataloged everything, careful to avoid touching anything labeled as restricted. One day, while investigating a small corridor, Ethan noticed a faint vibration in the floor. He knelt and scanned the area. The energy readings were coming from a small panel in the wall. Carefully, he opened it, revealing a compact energy core. The core pulsed softly, and a faint glow illuminated the corridor.
This is the source, Ethan whispered.
The ship's hidden power. Maya stepped closer, eyes wide. That is what I was frozen to protect. It is unstable, dangerous, but necessary. Clara stepped back. Necessary for what? Why keep something so dangerous alive? Maya's voice trembled. Because it can save lives, or destroy them. That is why it must be used wisely, and only by someone who can think beyond fear. Humans, maybe you can. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility. They were not just explorers now. They were guardians of a secret that could shape the galaxy. The quiet of the ship was soon broken by a new concern. Ethan noticed unusual signals on the long-range sensors. Small vessels, far off but approaching fast. "Clara," Ethan said, pointing at the display. "We have company. Someone is coming, and they are fast." Clara frowned. Could be a patrol, or pirates, or someone looking for the ship. Maya's expression darkened. They are looking for the weapon. I can feel it. Even asleep, it can sense those who seek it for destruction. Ethan took a deep breath. We need to prepare. The ship is old, yes, but it has defenses, and we have something they do not. Our brains, our courage, our ability to adapt. That counts for more than they know. Clara nodded. I can set up drones and basic defenses. We might not match them in firepower, but we can outsmart them. Maya looked at Ethan. I will help. I remember strategies, ways to confuse enemies. It is not much, but it is something. Ethan smiled faintly. Then we're ready. We just need to stay calm and think ahead. The ship is ours, but now we know why no one else wanted it. That night, the first intruders arrived. Small scout ships appeared near the planet, cloaked at first but visible on long-range sensors. Ethan and Clara prepared the ship's defenses, and Maya worked to unlock hidden tactical systems from her memories. The attack was sudden. Scout ships fired beams at the horizon, hitting empty corridors but testing the shields. Ethan directed power to reinforce the hull, while Clara guided drones to intercept the attackers. Maya studied the displays, giving directions. Use the corridors to your advantage. They will try to predict your moves, but humans are unpredictable. Use that. Ethan followed her instructions, maneuvering the ship in ways the attackers did not expect. Ah! Small explosions rocked the outer hull, but they managed to escape into a nearby asteroid field. Clara laughed, a mix of relief and exhilaration. I can't believe that worked. We actually outsmarted them. Maya smiled faintly.
Yes, cleverness is more important than strength sometimes.
You humans, you have it in abundance. Ethan felt a surge of pride. They had survived their first encounter, but he knew it was only the beginning. Whoever had sent those ships would not give up easily. As they floated among the asteroids, Ethan looked at Maya.
You were right.
The ship chose us for a reason. And now we have to protect it. Not just for ourselves, but for the galaxy.
Maya nodded slowly.
Yes.
And together maybe humans can do what others cannot. Maybe you can survive, even when the odds are against you. Clara leaned back in her chair, shaking her head. You know, I thought this was going to be a simple adventure, but it's more than that. It's terrifying and exciting and terrifying again. Ethan laughed softly. That's space.
That's life, and that's what makes it worth it.
Days turned into a week. They worked on repairs, studied the ship, and prepared for the next attack. Maya's memories slowly returned in fragments, revealing more about the weapon, the war, and the responsibility she had carried. Ethan realized that the ship was teaching them, shaping them, and testing them. He also realized something else. Humans, with all their flaws, fears, and emotions, had something no one else seemed to possess: creativity, courage, and a willingness to act when logic failed. The ship had been abandoned because others feared it, but humans could survive because they could adapt, and that was a secret more powerful than any weapon. The stars stretched endlessly outside the windows of the horizon, but inside the ship, tension hung in the air. Ethan Miller worked quickly at the control panel, adjusting power flows and running diagnostics. The attack from the previous week had damaged some systems, and he knew more challenges were coming. Clara Jenkins hovered over the navigation console, sending small drones ahead to scan nearby sectors. Her eyes flicked nervously between the readings. Ethan, they're coming again. I can see multiple ships approaching from the outer rim. They're faster than before. Ethan didn't look up. That means we have time to prepare. We know they're coming, and that gives us an advantage. Most of the galaxy underestimates humans. They always think we're slow or reckless. But we think differently. We adapt. Maya Winters stood nearby, her eyes scanning the holographic map of the ship. I remember this type of attack from before, centuries ago. The enemy will try to predict your movements. They will use numbers, formation, strategy, but humans, you are unpredictable. That is why you can survive. That is why you are dangerous. Dangerous? We're just trying to survive. Maya gave a faint smile.
Yes. And surviving is dangerous enough.
But also, it can be powerful. For the next few hours, they worked non-stop. Ethan rerouted power to reinforce the shields, while Clara moved drones into defensive positions ready to distract enemy scouts. Maya guided them, her memory returning in small pieces, showing them secret corridors and defensive systems hidden for centuries. This corridor here, Maya said, pointing at the map, can be used to trap incoming ships. It's narrow. They will follow, thinking they have advantage. But we can cut power to part of it and force them into a dead zone. Ethan nodded. Good idea. That could slow them down. Then we can strike from another angle. Clara added, and I can guide the drones into the blind spots they won't expect it. Maya looked at them, eyes serious.
Yes, humans can see options machines cannot.
That is why this ship chose you. Not by size or strength, by thinking. Ethan felt a swell of pride. This was true. The ship had been abandoned for centuries because others feared it, but humans could survive because they could improvise. The enemy fleet appeared on long-range sensors. They were larger this time, faster, and clearly more organized. Ethan quickly calculated their speed and trajectory. They're moving fast, but we know their path, he said. Clara, send drones to the left corridor. Maya, help me reroute power to the trap section. Maya nodded, her hands moving quickly over the holographic controls. Be careful. If they notice, they will change tactics. We must act now. Ethan held his breath as the first ships entered the asteroid field. Using the terrain and the ship's hidden corridors, they maneuvered carefully. Clara's drones darted between the attackers, drawing fire and causing confusion. Maya instructed, cut power to the section ahead, now! A portion of the corridor went dark, the enemy ships flying into the blind zone. Several collided with debris, and alarms sounded in their systems. Clara laughed quietly. It's working.
They're panicking. Maya's voice was calm but focused. Yes.
Humans think in ways others cannot. Use it. Do not waste the advantage. Ethan steered the horizon through another hidden corridor, dodging energy blasts. The ship creaked and groaned under the strain, but it held. They were surviving because they were smart, not because they had superior firepower. Hours passed in a tense blur. The enemy fleet adjusted, trying to anticipate their moves, but Ethan and Clara, guided by Maya, were always one step ahead. Every corridor, every hidden section of the ship became a trap. Drones distracted, corridors blocked, and systems overloaded at precise moments. Finally, the last few enemy scouts tried to follow them into a narrow passage. Ethan activated the ship's hidden defense systems, long dormant but still operational. A burst of energy forced the enemy ships back. The remaining attackers retreated, leaving the trio alone in the silence of the asteroid field. Clara exhaled, wiping sweat from her brow. We did it. We actually did it. Yes, humans are stronger than they think. Not in weapons, in mind, in courage, in ability to act. That is your power.
Ethan smiled. We survived.
And we learned. This ship, It's more than just metal. It's a test, and we passed the first part. Clara shook her head. I think we've only just begun. The quiet afterward gave them a chance to explore more. Ethan moved to the section where the energy core pulsed softly, still hidden and alive. He studied it carefully, making small adjustments to stabilize it. Maya approached him. That core, it is powerful, too powerful to be used without thought. But it can protect. It can save. And humans, maybe you can control it, if you think beyond fear. Ethan nodded slowly. We have to be careful. If the wrong people find it, the galaxy could be in danger. We can't let that happen. Clara added, we also have to be ready. More attacks will come. They know the ship exists now, and they will not give up. Maya sighed, a mixture of exhaustion and determination. Yes, humans must act, must think. That is why the ship chose you. Others feared it. Ethan felt a deep respect for Maya. She had carried this responsibility for centuries, and now she was teaching them how to face it. He realized that she trusted humans in a way she had not trusted anyone before. Days turned into weeks. They worked tirelessly repairing the ship, exploring deeper sections, and training for the next attack. Maya's memory slowly returned, revealing more about the weapon and the war. She remembered how the ship had been used to protect entire planets, how humans and other species had failed to control its power, and why she had been put into cryogenic sleep. Ethan learned more about human resilience from her. Even after centuries, humans survive. Even when the odds are impossible, we find a way. That is why we can handle this ship. Maya nodded.
Yes, humans are unpredictable, resourceful, courageous.
You are dangerous to those who underestimate you, and that is why you can protect this ship. Clara smiled faintly. I never thought I'd hear a centuries-old soldier call us dangerous and mean it as a compliment. We are dangerous in the right way, and that is what matters. The next attack was even closer than the last. A larger fleet appeared near the planet, their energy weapons glowing in the distance. Ethan, Clara, and Maya prepared for battle once more. This time, Ethan had learned from their first encounter. He knew the enemy would be cleverer, faster, and more aggressive. Clara, he said, we're not just defending. We're going to teach them a lesson. Humans survive by thinking differently. That is our advantage. Clara nodded. I'm ready. Let's see how unpredictable we can be. Maya added, use the hidden corridors, the traps, the drones. They will expect force. You will use mind, strategy, and courage. That is how humans win. The battle began. Enemy ships fired at the horizon, but Ethan had prepared new traps and diversions. Clara guided drones into unexpected angles, and Maya helped predict enemy moves from long ago. Ethan maneuvered the ship through narrow passages, dodging blasts and using hidden energy bursts to push attackers into asteroid fields. One by one, enemy ships collided or were forced to retreat. Finally, the fleet withdrew completely, unable to understand how a single ship had outsmarted them all. Ethan, Clara, and Maya floated in silence, breathing heavily but alive. Clara shook her head, grinning. I can't believe we actually did it again. We survived. Twice. Maya's eyes glimmered. Humans clever, brave, unpredictable. That is your gift. Others fear it. Others cannot see it. That is why you can control the ship. They were no longer just survivors. They were guardians. They had learned the first lesson the ship had to teach. Humans are powerful not because of weapons, but because of mind, courage, and heart. They worked to repair damage, rest, and explore even deeper areas of the ship. The hidden weapon remained dormant, but now they understood its importance. It was not just a tool. It was a responsibility. Maya stood beside Ethan, looking at the energy core. One day you will have to use it, but not now. Now you learn, you prepare, you survive. That is what humans do best. Ethan nodded slowly. We'll be ready. We have to be. The galaxy may not understand humans, but we understand ourselves. And that will be enough. Clara leaned against the wall, smirking. You talk like we're about to face the whole universe. Maybe we are. But at least we survived the impossible so far. Maya smiled faintly. Yes, surviving the impossible is what humans do best. That is why this ship chose you. That is why it waited. As they looked out at the stars, Ethan felt something deep inside him change. They were not just exploring the galaxy anymore. They were shaping it. And humans, small and fragile as they seemed, had a place in the vast, endless universe that no one could ever predict. The silence of space around the horizon was heavy. Ethan Miller stood at the bridge, staring at the glowing stars, knowing this calm was temporary. Every sensor, every alert, told him that the enemy fleet would return. They had survived before, but the next attack would not be a test. It would be a full assault. Clara Jenkins sat beside him, her hands resting lightly on the navigation controls. They're coming faster this time, she said. And they're bigger. We can't just dodge or hide anymore. They'll overwhelm us if we try. Maya Winters stood near the energy core, her gaze steady. I remember this moment. The enemy will think they have advantage. They will think fear controls humans. But humans are unpredictable. That is your power. You must use it. Ethan nodded, slowly. He had learned so much in the past weeks. They had repaired the ship, discovered its secrets, and survived impossible attacks. But this was the moment that would truly test them. The moment when human ingenuity and courage would be pitted against overwhelming force. The enemy fleet appeared on the sensors, massive and gleaming. Hundreds of ships moved with precision, weapons glowing like distant suns. Ethan quickly calculated their formation. They're surrounding us, he said. They're counting on fear. They think we'll run or surrender. But we won't. We have a plan. What plan? We can't fight hundreds of ships with just this old cruiser. We won't fight them the way they expect. Humans survive by thinking differently. That is what we'll do. Maya, are you ready? Maya's eyes shone.
Yes. I remember strategies from the past.
You must act quickly. Use the ship, the corridors, and the core. They will not expect it. Ethan turned to Clara. This is going to be dangerous, but we can do it if we trust each other. Are you ready? Clara grinned. I was born ready. The battle began. Enemy ships fired energy beams at the horizon, hitting shields that groaned under the strain. Ethan maneuvered the ship through narrow passages, weaving around asteroids and hidden corridors. Clara guided drones to attack blind spots and mislead enemy sensors. Maya directed energy pulses, activating ancient defensive systems the attackers did not know existed. The first wave of enemy ships collided with hidden traps. Energy barriers rose and fell, crushing smaller vessels or forcing them into the asteroid field. Ethan's plan worked. Humans were unpredictable, and the enemy could not anticipate their moves. "Keep moving," Ethan shouted. "Use every hidden corridor. Don't let them predict our path." Clara's drones swarmed, attacking from angles the enemy could not see. "They're confused," she yelled. "It's working." Maya's voice was calm and sharp. "Good. Now, activate the core. Use it as a diversion. They will focus on the light, not knowing the real attack comes from another angle." Ethan hesitated for a moment, then pulled the energy lever. The core glowed brightly, sending a pulse that dazzled enemy sensors. The fleet faltered, their coordination broken. With the enemy distracted, Ethan maneuvered the ship into the final trap corridor. The walls closed in slightly, and hidden energy barriers forced the remaining ships into narrow channels. Trapped, they could not escape or attack effectively. Clara's drones moved in with precision, disabling weapon systems and guiding the ships into asteroid collisions. The fleet tried to adapt, but humans were always one step ahead. Every move was clever, unpredictable, and perfectly timed. They had learned from the previous attacks, and now they were controlling the battlefield. Maya's voice was steady. "You are doing well. Humans are meant to survive. That is why this ship waited for you. Others feared it."
You understand it. You control it.
Ethan smiled. "We're not just surviving,"
We're winning.
Clara added. "I can't believe this. We actually turned the tables on them."
Maya nodded.
Yes, and the lesson is clear.
Strength is not just power. It is mind, courage, and heart. Humans have all three. The battle continued for hours. Ethan and Clara worked tirelessly, maneuvering the ship and guiding drones. Maya used her knowledge of ancient strategies, anticipating enemy moves and giving precise instructions. Every attack, every movement was calculated with care. Finally, the remaining enemy ships retreated. The galaxy had witnessed something unexpected. A single ship, old and abandoned, had survived attacks from hundreds of ships using only intelligence, creativity, and courage. Clara exhaled deeply. "We did it. We actually did it. We survived everything." Ethan looked at Maya. "We couldn't have done it without you. Your knowledge, your guidance, it saved us."
Maya smiled faintly. "No,
It was your courage, your thinking, your ability to adapt. That is why humans can survive, even when the odds are impossible. That is why the ship chose you." After the battle, the three of them took a moment to rest. The ship had some damage, but nothing critical. Ethan went to the energy core, checking its stability. The soft glow pulsed steadily, as if satisfied. "This core," Ethan said quietly, "it's more than just power. It's a test. It waits for someone who can think, who can survive, who can care about more than just themselves." "I think we passed that test," Maya nodded.
Yes, you passed.
Others failed because they only sought power. Humans seek survival, understanding, and sometimes hope. That is why you can control this ship. A hope. Clara smiled. "And now what? Do we go home or keep exploring?" Ethan looked out at the stars, feeling a new sense of purpose. "We keep exploring. There is so much we don't know, but now we know we can face it. Humans belong out here, not because of weapons, but because we can think, adapt, and survive. That is our real power." Over the next days, they repaired the ship, strengthened defenses, and explored even deeper sections. They discovered ancient records showing that the Horizon had been part of missions that saved entire planets. The weapon it protected was never meant to destroy indiscriminately. It was a tool for defense, for survival for those clever enough to use it wisely. Ethan realized something important. Humans had always been underestimated in the galaxy. Other species saw them as weak, slow, or reckless. But humans survived because they were unpredictable. They adapted, created, and learned from every mistake. And now, with the Horizon, humans could show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. Maya's memory continued to return, and she taught Ethan and Clara more about the ship's systems, the hidden weapon, and strategies for survival. Together, they worked to unlock the ship's full potential, not for destruction, but for exploration and protection. Clara laughed one evening as they floated near a bright nebula. "I never thought I'd survive centuries-old strategies and space battles. But here we are, still alive and actually enjoying it." Ethan smiled. "That's humans for you. We survive because we don't give up. And, sometimes, the impossible becomes possible." Maya watched them, a faint smile on her face. "Humans are strong in ways others cannot see. You survive not because of power, but because of mind, heart, and courage. That is why this ship waited for you. That is why it chose you." Months passed and the Horizon became more than a ship. It became a symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and courage. Ethan and Clara became legends among explorers and traders. Maya, once a soldier of the past, now trusted humans fully, choosing to stay and guide them. One day, as they traveled through a newly charted sector, Ethan looked out at the stars and reflected on everything they had faced. The ship, abandoned and overlooked, had been a test, and humans had passed it. They had survived impossible attacks, learned ancient knowledge, and proven that courage and mind could overcome even the greatest dangers. Clara leaned against him, smiling. "Do you think anyone will believe our story?" Ethan chuckled. "But it doesn't matter. We know the truth. Humans belong in the galaxy, not because of strength, but because we can think, adapt, and survive, and that is something no one can ever take from us." Maya looked at them, eyes bright. "Yes, humans are special. You survive because you understand more than power. You understand life? That is why the ship chose you. That is why you will continue to succeed." As they looked out at the endless stars, Ethan felt a sense of peace. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and wonders, but humans, with their courage, creativity, and determination, could face it all. And the Horizon, once unwanted and abandoned, would carry them to new adventures, secrets, and victories beyond imagination. In the quiet of the ship, Ethan whispered softly, "We are ready for whatever comes next." And the three of them, humans and the awakened guardian of the past, traveled forward together, proving that even in a galaxy full of giants and machines, human ingenuity and courage could change everything. Galaxy had never seen anything like it. And this was only the beginning.